Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Kev's Movie Corner. I am Kev. This week we are talking about Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Unfortunately, my uncle was unable to make it this week, so it's just me for a week. He's supposed to be expecting to join next week for our Episode 3. But this one, Attack of Clones, brief synopsis from IMDb, is 10 years after initially meeting Anakin Skywalker, shares a forbidden romance with Padme Amidala, while Obi-Wan Kenobi discovers a secret clone army crafted for the Jedi. This movie came out in 2002, so just, I think, a year after the first one? Is that right? The other one came out in 2001? 2 years. 3 years. The other one came out in 1999. Okay, so it came out a few years after Episode 1. This one stars Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, still Natalie Portman, and Ewan McGregor as Padme and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Your main bad guy in this one is Christopher Lee as Count Dooku, and Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine, Chancellor Palpatine, Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, who Doug mentioned it last week, my uncle mentioned it last week. You haven't quite gotten to this yet in the series, but he ends up being the Emperor, the Sith Lord in the whole ordeal. But anyway, so this movie was different. This movie was, again, I haven't watched any of these in a long time. So this movie had a few parts that I did kind of remember. I remembered a little bit of the, like, Yoda fight at the end, where he's, like, jumping around and screaming as he's fighting Dooku, which is just hilarious, because you see this little green old dude, Yoda, who can barely walk, has to walk with a cane, and then he all of a sudden just starts jumping around off of walls, and then has to go back to walking with a cane immediately after, which is just ridiculous. But I didn't remember the whole entire sequence of, I kind of remembered the scene in the city where they're chasing people throughout the city. I couldn't remember where that happened, if it was in, which movie it was in, episode 2 or 3. But I knew that happened. I couldn't remember which one it was in. I didn't remember a lot from this movie, actually. I didn't really remember most of the like, when they're going to be executed. Didn't remember most of that. Didn't remember them, like, splitting up and Obi-Wan going to the outer, like, rim to see the clone army. Yeah, there was a lot of things that I didn't kind of realize were happening in these, that I didn't remember happening in these movies. So it was interesting to watch. It was almost like watching a new movie that I had, just had faint memories of that I almost had never seen before. You do, knowing where this goes, because I have seen, obviously this is prequels, so if you've seen episodes, the original trilogy, so episodes 4, 5, and 6, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, you know where all this goes and how it builds up and what happens. So you see a lot of things that are building, and there's a lot of things that when I was younger, when these were coming out, because I was, when this came out, it's 2002, 12, 13, something like that, 14. There was a lot of things in this that I didn't catch, a lot of Easter eggs in this that I didn't catch that were going to be happening. I didn't catch Jango Fett is the clone, the person that they clone for all these for this clone army, and that he is that Boba Fett is not really his son, but just his clone, just a clone of him. So didn't catch that at all earlier in this. Didn't catch, when they're talking about when Dooku is going to escape from the battlefield, from the battle after, or right before he fights Yoda, when he's going to escape. They talk about, how they have to get their, master plan away so that, the Jedi nobody can find out about their master plan and their master weapon. And he takes this little hologram thing, and they bring it up, and he's looking at it, and it is a hologram of the Death Star, which, that's something that's not going to come about for, well, I don't really know the timeline of this, but they're building it in episode. Well, I guess, I don't 20 years, it's not going to be built for 20 years. They're building it in A New Hope, I think. So, or it's almost done being built, I guess, in A New Hope. So, 20 years down the road. So that's, that's 20 something. Yeah, 20 years down the road. So that's something that's, kind of looking forward in this, there's a lot of things that I just didn't ever catch in this. There's several things that I didn't catch in this before that was interesting to see. And I just thought it was fun to go back and watch it and see some of those things. I did find a couple of little interesting facts. Doug and I talked about Jar Jar and how, he's, kids love him, but for most adults he was annoying. And one of Doug's most annoying characters, and I kind of agree as an adult now, but he was so, so disliked during episode 1 that, as a joke, the working title of this movie was Jar Jar's Big Adventure, which is, just kind of a little poke at people, which I thought was comical. Samuel L. Jackson plays Mace Windu, a Jedi master in this. right next to Yoda in this. He apparently specifically asked George Lucas if he could have a purple lightsaber and was told that Jedi lightsabers were only blue or green. He still said, yeah, but I want a purple one. Lucas said he'd consider it. Apparently Jackson didn't know until he went in for reshoots and was shown a cut, and he had a purple lightsaber. Also, the hilt has bad MFer on it. Not MFer, but the actual phrase engraved on the hilt, which is also stamped on his character's wallet in Pulp Fiction, which is kind of funny. Also, Anakin Skywalker was, I think I saw several hundred people tried out for that role. And Hayden Christensen was concerned that he wasn't going to get it. Because there was a lot of people that were going for it. And there was names being thrown around like Paul Walker, Colin Hanks, Christian Bale, Heath Ledger, James Van Der Beek, and even Leonardo DiCaprio were some names that were thrown around. So Hayden Christensen was very, wasn't sure that he was going to get that part, but he did. And this was the last Star Wars film to be released in North America on VHS, which I thought was just kind of a sign of the times. So 2002, after that, everything went to discs, DVDs, and now we don't even have those hardly anymore. So just kind of interesting. So me and Doug have been going over the ratings for these. This one is, let's see here. I don't have them. Oh, no, they're numbered. This one is number 9 out of 11. So, not great. It is right above The Phantom Menace, which is number 10. So, not very highly ranked among Rotten Tomatoes people at a 62%. So, it's got a better percentage by almost 10, by 8%, 8 percentage points better, but not a very much, but just one space above. Consensus from critics is that it benefits, excuse me, man, tired, benefits from increased emphasis on thrilling action, although it's undercut by ponderous plot points and underdeveloped characters. I guess I don't know. It's still a Star Wars movie. I mean, I know Doug would have a lot more to say about it than I do. So, maybe we'll get some of his thoughts on it next week when we have when he's back. But we'll get some of his thoughts on. I'll try to remember to ask him some of his thoughts on this one as well. At some point next week and see what he kind of had to say about it. But yeah. I think, for me, that is it this week. Next week, we'll watch Episode 3, and plan to have Doug back on here to talk more about that. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, watch that, and come and join us. And we'll talk to you then.